Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with Kerbal Space Program's Career. Now, it's been a little while since I've played this game and done any recording in general, actually, because of a lot of things going on in my life, so I'm not sure if I actually remember 100% what's going on at this point in the career, especially as I just did a video on the Mouse Gunner's Quest, which is it's going to be a series, at least planned series. It depends on, how many people are interested in it or not, which is trying to get a space plane, essentially a vehicle from off the runway up into space, being able to orbit and then bring it back down out of orbit, out of Kerbal, kind of quest that I've been setting for myself, because that is actually a very difficult mission to pull off. In any case, if I remember correctly, one of the things we were deciding was, first off, we had a couple slots open as far as our mission control active missions. So we have, let's see, how many we have. So we have 6 contracts. We have another slot that we can easily fill. Now, a lot of our contracts are R&D contracts, which, I know it's not as interesting as getting up into orbit and things like that, but it's what pays our bills, kind of. And then also we had, the missions that we had available to us. We essentially have 4 missions available to us. We have an experimental survey, which I think required us to get to a specific point. Wasn't all that interested in this mission, honestly, because I feel like it's a little bit more difficult of a mission, and it's definitely a mission. Not that it's like super difficult, it's just a mission that we really just have to exclusively plan for. Like, we're doing this mission, and this is the mission we're doing. Like, everything else is secondary. And then all the other ones are ferry people, essentially. So we get varying amounts of money for ferrying the people. Mostly it's all the same amount of money, it just, you have to get them, into space. That's it. And I could take this, but there's a kind of a problem we have. And that problem is that I don't know what the travel itinerary is, actually. I know we have to get suborbital flight. I don't know what the travel itinerary is, though. So, I might not choose one of these just because I don't know what the mission is, and I don't want to fail it and lose all this reputation. So, I don't know if I'm going to take one of those, but definitely what we want to do is we want to upgrade our vehicle assembly building, because we only have 30 parts that we can build with. And if we upgrade, we get 255 parts, which allows us to do much more complex missions. And we have the action groups that we have now access to, which isn't that big of a deal, but definitely something we want to think about. But I want to think about also these R&Ds and what we need to do. So this needs to be a specific height. Needs to be altitude that much and speed that much before we activate it. We also have this one, which is more or less the same. It's just the heights are different. Okay, so we could do a stage where this one goes, then this one goes, because it's higher up in the atmosphere. So that's an idea. We have this one, which is a solid fuel booster, and it needs to be at a specific height at a specific speed. The parachute needs to be at a specific height and a specific speed. I think this is probably what we're going to focus on, is that parachute, because that's one of the easier things to really do correctly. We have a radial decoupler, and for this, we have to have an escape trajectory, which I still am not sure exactly what that means. And then we have an orbit Kerbal mission. So, the 2 things we can really focus on is orbit Kerbal, radial mount parachute. Question is, do we have enough money if we do our upgrade to actually do that mission? Because we only have roughly 22,000 in funds to build our craft, and I think that might be an okay call, but let's see, as far as money, how much things cost. We'll probably be okay as long as we use this and we don't get too crazy. Why is that greened out? Oh, it's experimental. Okay. As long as we don't get too crazy with some of our our parts expenditures, we might be okay. But I'm thinking probably we should focus more on maybe an R&D mission before we do that, which wouldn't require that many parts, because I'm concerned about the money. Okay, so we're gonna need that. We can see actually what the money is here, maybe, and then we'll save it, and then we'll think about spending it later. So we've got what are we on names wise? We'll say don't save. Alright, so we're R&D 1. Okay. It only costs 5,000. Looks like our most expensive craft, which was the X2, cost 16,000. So that's, you know, we'll probably be able to do it. I just don't think we'll be able to orbit Kerbal, honestly. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just upgrade. Let's upgrade our... Okay, that's now upgraded, so we can build much more complex craft. We just have not a whole lot of money to work with. So we've got our command pod here. Let's go ahead and... You know, I actually don't know how to zoom out, and we're quite zoomed in here. I know how to go up and down. Oh well. In any case, let's go ahead and from this, we want to do... I actually don't remember. I think it was this one was the one that we have an experiment on. We have this as an experiment. And I don't think we unlocked this through our research, did we? In any case, it's linked as experimental. So I wonder if it has a chance of failing? That would be interesting. Okay, so fuel. We only have a couple fuel tanks to work with, so we're going to use this one. And... maybe we'll do 2 of those. And then we will do the swivel. And maybe a couple of these. Let's go ahead and grab 2. Do something like this. Now this is purely for research purposes. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put a decoupler on. I am not happy with how zoomed in this is, but I honestly don't remember the controls to zoom in and out, so we're just going to be that zoomed in. Do a decoupler. There we go. Slap this back on. Then we're going to come down here and do another decoupler. And we want radial decouplers as well. That's one thing I have to remember. But we have to do those at a specific height, if I remember. Oh no, escape trajectory was what we needed. Okay. So that might be something we do later. We have plenty of time to do it. I think it was more than a year. I want to use probably solid fuel boosters to get up high enough. I'm not exactly sure if how high we're going to get, but okay, so we do 4 maybe. Can we do more than that? 6? Kind of overlap at this point. I have concerns with overheating though if we do that many. Okay. Not sure how high this is going to get us. But it's kind of important that we get that high. So we might do a couple staging kind of events to make sure we get that high. And we want these type of parachutes. We don't want 4 of them. I'll do just 1. Keep our costs low. But we'll slap it here. And I don't really have, I think, any science experiment-y type things to do. What's this do? Okay, is a cutting-edge, self-contained laboratory. Okay, so maybe this is something that we can do if we make it. Oh, that's really heavy, though. You know what we're going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this off, slap this on, slap this on the bottom. And if we get out of the atmosphere. That would be good. We'll use the science thing. If we don't, we'll use it in the atmosphere. Maybe it'll give us science. Okay, now we have to focus on getting our next stage, so we definitely get high enough. You know what we should do? We should have this as be the bottom. Because we also had that thumper one. This one. I mean this, yeah, thumper. That we want as part of our staging. Alright, so we want to make this higher. Bring this up. Again, get a lot of our stages in here. This is really annoying how zoomed in this is. I actually might do an edit here and figure out what the controls are, because this is driving me crazy. Alright, so I'm gonna do an edit here. Okay, we're back. I didn't actually figure out what the controls were, but I just figured if I loaded back in, it'd probably zoom out because it's a little bit bigger. But in any case, what we were doing was we were going to stick this thumper on. I don't like how tall this thing is. I'm afraid that it's going to be bad, but we'll try it. I honestly don't think we'll get high enough for this thing to fire, but we'll try it. If it fails, it fails. Not so great luck for the Kerbal that blows up, but what can you do? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do these smaller. Do 4. And what I might do to ensure this fires is, and I don't know the heights that these things need to fire, so that might be part of the problem, is I might stage this in a way so that I can fire these things when I need them to fire. So like I could fire these while this is going. Like this won't be able to fire, but at least we complete, you know, 2 of the missions maybe. Okay, so what I'll do is to try and maximize my chance of this being a successful, you know, R&D mission. I'll slap on some more solid fuel boosters, like so. Alright, and so now the plan is, we have, not those ones fire first, these ones fire first, with that one. So we're going to need to make a stage down here, grab this, bring it down, grab this, no, not that, this, bring it down. Okay. Alright, and then we need the decoupler, which is this. Bring that down. And once those run out, we'll go ahead and have these fire at the same time. That's fine. That doesn't make any difference. Then when that runs out, we'll need this to fire. The only problem with that is, I'm kind of worried, though, if we decouple them too soon. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, because we'll have this fire. Then I want these to fire before that gets decoupled. Alright, so it's kind of a compromise of things, because we're going to have to shed these when we fire this. As a matter of fact, we're going to have that happen at the same time, just so we save ourselves having to go through stages. Then when this fires, hopefully we're high enough that when it fires, it fires at the right time, at the right height. If it's not, when it fires, because it's going to be a long fire, we'll also fire this when it gets roughly to that height. And for me, it's somewhere in between 12 and 18-ish is where it needs to fire. So I'm probably going to do it after 12, because I think for most things, after 12 is okay. So all of these things I'm going to kind of depend upon happening after 12. So after I've seen 12,000 meters happen, I'll do it. And then For the radial parachute, this one, if I remember correctly, I hope that one parachute's enough. Otherwise, this is going to be a bad day. You know what? We'll do 2 just to be safe. So let me grab that and make it times 2. We'll put it on either side here. And I'm planning on this coming down, so I'm not even going to bother with a communitron. That's just going to kind of waste money. Okay, so this is our very complex craft. Alright, so who are we going to have go as our crew? We have Jebediah. I want a pilot. So we'll do Jebediah. That's fine. Alright. And we have action groups available, but I don't have any action groups I really want to do. Okay, this is going to be a tough one, and I hope it's not super unbalanced as far as weight and just goes crazy, but in theory, this will allow us to do a lot of R&D missions. If it gets into orbit, it gets into orbit, and that's fantastic. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I want these to fire, then I want this to fire. I want this to, well, that's okay if it fires afterwards. Then we have this go, but I want this to go separate from the parachutes. Okay, good. Now we have everything done. Let's save that on up and do our launch. Alright, I'm a little nervous about this one, and especially with a heavier craft like this, without having like a gantry, this thing could compress on itself when it fires and explode, so that is a problem. I always like to grab my fuel resource here. Okay, here she goes, and 3, 2, 1, fire. Oh, I forgot to put on the SAS, but we're good now. That'll keep it flying more or less, well, a little bit more controllably. Fire. Okay, I don't think the Thumper is going to get it the height it needs, or these solid fuel boosters run out, because we need probably 10,000. We could let it go for a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on that acceleration. That might be alright. The problem is it needs a certain speed, which we didn't have. Okay, and after 12,000, I'll let the other thing fire. So there. Okay, so hopefully we've completed at least one of these. I don't think we're going to get a chance to let the other thruster go. I think we're getting out of the atmosphere, that's for sure. Okay, let that go. And I guess we could thrust up here. We'll run out of fuel. Oh, I don't think it matters now. Okay. And there's no reason to keep that, so goodbye. And we just keep going until we make it into space, and then we do our science. I'm hoping we at least did one of those missions. And then we just wait until we're within, I think it was 18 to 1,000, coming back down. Okay, we're into space, so let's go ahead and observe materials bay. And we've got 25 science, so microgravity has greatly affected the growth of crystalline structures. Loose objects are also flying around the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. We're going to keep that data because we don't have a transmitter. Well, at least I don't think we do, although it says we could transmit it. But we get 25 science straight up if we keep it, so we'll keep that. Let's see if we can do a crew report. Crew report. We can, but it's not worth anything. So that's fine, we'll just reset the experiment. Alright, let's see how high up we got. Not too bad. That's definitely not going to be an orbital flight, but we weren't also going for that. But we now have potential, so now we can speed it up. We're going to start falling back down to Earth. Hopefully the falling back down to the Earth thing doesn't cause anything to burn up. Hopefully our parachute stops us. Should be falling soon. There we go. So you got up to roughly 178,000 meters, which is quite high. I think you only need, 75,000 meters to do an orbit. Stable orbit. Could be wrong on that. Somewhere in between 75,000 and 90,000 meters is roughly what you need to have a stable orbit. And we're accelerating quite fast. I am concerned about that speed because I think we did have a speed kind of zone that we wanted to be in, and I'm going to let this do real time as we come down. I am concerned about the how this handles the heat. Oh crap, I wasn't paying attention to the distance. God dang it. That was bad. Alright, so hopefully I got even one of those missions to complete, because otherwise that was kind of a waste of time. I mean, we got 25 science, but otherwise it was a waste of time because I was not paying attention at all, and I allowed that distance to just blow on by. Oh well, it's not like the parachutes are gonna leave us anytime soon. It looks like the parachutes are doing their job as well, so no big deal there. We'll just speed her on up until we get down into the ground. I am kind of bummed out that we lost the opportunity to do that mission. So if everything goes correctly, we at least did one mission, which would have been those experimental rocket motors that were on the sides there. Because I did do those roughly after 12,000. Now I don't know if that was actually the range that I needed to do them in, though, because I didn't actually pay attention to that one. It's taken quite a while to get there, so we're going to speed it up a little bit more. It's kind of hard with it being dark like this to see how far away we even are, because you're always going to be above sea level a little bit, which is what 0 would be, unless you're actually hitting the sea. Okay, there we go. So we're down. We'll at minimum get 25 science, so that is kind of a money expenditure for just 25 science, but alright, let's go ahead and go back to our space center. I would like it to say what missions you complete when you do a recovery, but it never does. So let's go ahead and recover the mission. Okay, we got 25 science, then we got another 1.3 science for doing our suborbital flight. But that is diminishing returns from what we got before. But we have a total of 37 science at the moment. Moving along, we got some parts back. That's lovely. And no experience. We're going to have to see if we got our mission completed or not. Alright, so we go to mission control and find that out. Okay, it looks like we didn't complete Jack at all. Nothing was completed because we still have 6 active contracts. I could have swore that maybe I read that wrong. Maybe this is a different engine, because this is the swivel which we didn't get a chance to use. And oh, the height was much higher. The altitude height was much higher. So that's why we didn't complete it. Alright, well maybe I needed to actually pay attention to what my mission guidelines were. Oh, okay, so that was a mission that didn't go very well, but at least we see the potential there. We got some science. Yeah, okay. Definitely could have done better there, but I just want to double check that was the right kind of engine. So, engines, where are you? Yeah, that was the right engine, we just didn't know what the height was, so we were just making a guess, and our guess was not correct. I'm pretty confident, though, that this exact craft could probably get us that mission unlocked. I mean, essentially, we had that mission in our lap. I blew the parachutes because I wasn't paying attention to the height, because we were dropping really fast, and I blew the thrusters because I didn't know what height I needed to do it at. These R&D missions are actually kind of difficult, especially for this one. I mean, solid fuel boosters you usually use at an early stage, not this late, so it's kind of frustrating. In any case, not sure we made much money on that. We probably spent more money than well, I mean, we made money. I mean, because we would have only had 22,000 to work with. So I don't know how we made money, because we didn't do any missions. So I don't know how we made money, but we made money somehow. In any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. We're probably going to do a little bit of research here, and then we'll probably call it quits. So, let's see what we can afford. Definitely probably going to get this, as it allows us some more parachute options, and the heat shield, which I'm not sure it's necessary at this point. Landing struts. I mean, this is honestly probably the last thing I'd want to get, so with 37, can I get anything else? Yeah, I'm thinking what I'm going to do here is just save, because I honestly don't think I need any of these things, because I seemingly already have a radial parachute. I don't know where I got one. Yeah, shouldn't I have already unlocked this? Because I have access to this part. How would I gain this part without... Oh, okay, so some things are experimental, so we get access to them even though we haven't unlocked the research, because this is the next research tree. And we haven't actually unlocked it, but we have access to this thruster. We don't have access to the fuel tank, for instance, or this rocket engine. But we have access to that. From this, it looks like we got this as an experimental part. And I wonder if they're mission-oriented, maybe? Huh. That's interesting. But we already have this parachute. Now, honestly, that's the only thing to me that's worth anything out of this group. Honestly, I'm not sure this tree is all that useful for quite a while. So it looks like everything else is going to cost us 45 science, so I think it's probably a good idea to just hold on to that and see how that goes. In any case, this kind of gives you an idea of what we're going to do in next mission. We could literally fire the same craft up and get those results. Maybe I'll do that even off camera. In any case, as I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.